I have to say, the Slime Diaries has been a very pleasant surprise. I assumed it would be a good show, something that would make me laugh, make me have a couple of minutes worth of things to say as we moved on and waited for the next episode, but I've been pleasantly surprised by how much meat has been on the bone of the Slime Diaries anime. I know the source material chapters aren't all that long, but the way they've adapted it into a full-length episode, honestly, before, anything was really confirmed about the Slime Diaries, I assumed it would be a short, I thought it'd be an 8-minute sort of episode sort of situation. But honestly, this feels like a good type of episode. This episode was not only held down by Gabata just being both lazy and having no chill, but also simply just watching the characters farm. This episode honestly had a lot of familiar elements to shows like Nan Nan Biori, and how the hell would that ever work in a show like the Slime Diaries, but this series is continuing to prove why it works so well. And as someone who got into that time I got reincarnated as a slime a month or so before season 2 officially happened, I've experienced so much slime in such a short amount of time, and it feels so good, and it really doesn't feel like it's dragging along. And I think had this come out before season 2, I think people might not have appreciated it as much, but by having it be that middle ground as we wait for part 2 of the main series, it not only gets you to have more slime to entertain you, it actually makes you appreciate the main series more, at least that's how I'm feeling. To me personally, I know everyone's talking about how if you haven't seen part 2, I'm gonna leave it a little more open-ended. I don't want to spoil you if you haven't seen season 2 yet, but there's points in season 2 that hurt you. And to see content like this, it adds to that pain all the more, but it also makes you appreciate why Rimuru does certain things and why this village deserves to survive, probably more so than a lot of villages out there in this world. To me, simply watching the ridiculous comedy take place, there's plenty of amazing jokes that stand alone as just being entertaining, but so far for me, I think the element that is the most humorous and the one that sticks out the most is Gabata, who already I thought was one of the best characters from Season 1, and honestly has been pretty interesting even in Season 2, the little we've seen. But I like how he's a character who fits so naturally in a series like this, where this episode is designed around the concept of what do you do when you have a day off, and Rimuru is a workaholic, and I can personally relate to that. Rimuru, after a short little while, is bored and is looking for any sort of job to do, and I can personally relate. That's why I make so many videos, because I get bored if I don't make videos. That's simply how I am. And to watch a character like him who is so bound and bent to find something to do, and then you have Gabata trying to teach him how to take time off and to enjoy life, as really he's just playing hooky. Gabata is a lazy bastard, but you wouldn't have him any other way. Watching him throughout this episode either say the wrong thing or simply do no work until it's kind of forced upon him was a very entertaining part of the episode. The episode literally ends after the credits play with him saying, "Oh, is that why you put weight?" to the one character you probably don't want to say, especially considering Mother Nature is kind of in the palm of her hand here. But to watch him just try to slack off so much, where he'll be sleeping on the job claiming he's meditating and he's kind of bringing out the best of his skills. And the fact that when he is presented a hoe, which I thought that was an amazing build-up because of last week's episode, right? And, he's getting a reward, everything like that, and everything that's happening, and to see him just have a hoe, and to see him how, fast he was basically plowing the fields. There's a joke that comes, slightly towards the end of the episode where he's he makes a joke that is so perfect. I know it probably wasn't necessarily meant to be hoe as in someone who he would use in a pleasurable way, but still, the joke left me laughing. He's like, if you ever need something with hoes, call up me, I'm good for this. I absolutely love that. And I love seeing just the difference of philosophies in terms of what characters are doing and what characters are saying and just how quality the production is through and through. Given the fact that the character models are apparently a lot more similar to that of the manga source material, I like how in this show it's very interesting because they have more round character models. There's not as many super crisp, high quality character models because it's a lot more cartoonish is probably the best way to put it. So the fact that we're watching a silly slice of life series, the way they transition from their general character models here to their bouncy and energetic ones, sure, there's some super hyper realistic shots. There's points where butterflies and wheat fields, there's ridiculous shots that are crystal clear, high quality details. But for the most part, it's a simpler character design, and in doing so, it makes the transition to animation feel a lot more smooth than what you might be used to in the main series, where there's really good action and there is some good comedy, but sometimes you can say, oh, I wish they would have spiced up the animation here more. But with Slime Diaries, it just feels so high quality, and I love the team behind it, and clearly, like, they're putting their all into this show. I mean, there's a moment where Geld is pretty much being taught how to plant things, and to just see a slime sitting on such a Goliath of a beast as he's holding the most precious of things, planting it in, you can't help but say that is cute and hilarious, and just you never thought you would see that when watching season 1. And just watching all the little moments take place, or even some of like the more Looney Tunes types animation, like when the two people were making clothing because they're like, oh, they're so pretty, we gotta make them even prettier dresses. The house is like kind of like stretching and bouncing around in a very Looney Tunes fashion, which is just like that type of comedy I love to see in anime. It feels like there's just so many different styles of art and animation at play to bring about a show that is supposed to be slice of slime. It's a slice of life show that honestly just makes you appreciate everything that we've experienced in the show even more. And I've said it throughout season 2 reviews that I thought season 1 for the most part was pretty much a slice of life show. It was almost like a society simulator, like building up things and watching it happen with the threat of danger. But by removing that threat and really just saying we're going to focus on building up the village and we're going to have farmland saga in that time I got reincarnated as a slime, that was really entertaining to me, and I just love to see how far they were able to build things over the course of this episode. And once again, just make me think of season 2 and like why I'm just so appreciative of where season 2 went after where certain things in season 2 went. It's probably the best way I can put it for those who haven't seen season 2 yet, which is difficult to even talk about, but I think it kind of just adds so much more quality to this. I think the thing I'm very interested in seeing going forward in this is most definitely some of the characters who haven't really had that much time to shine in either season 1 or 2. I mean, there's moments in this episode where characters are like barging into the room saying, hey, Rimuru, we gotta do this. And Rimuru's dialogue is like, oh, I haven't seen you for a while. And I'm thinking, have we seen you at all? But hey, you know, throw me as many characters as you want. This is a show trying to really flesh out its world. And I think that's what's going to make part 2 of season 2 all the more interesting, because this almost feels like, rather than what would typically be seen as filler or whatever, not only is it a spin-off, and people should hopefully recognize as such, it actually does add to the connections you have with these characters, meaning if any more bad things happen to any of them or the village, you are going to be even more upset, I feel like. Sure, source readers already have that connection, but for us anime originals, right, like we have the anime and the anime only to go off of. And this is doing a great job further fleshing it out. I mean, I have no real connection to kids in anime, I just don't care about them too often. But seeing them in this show and seeing just like the idea of them going to Benimaru saying, hey, you know, how can we get strong like you? And he's saying, don't be picky. And they're just blushing. They're saying, oh my God, he's so strong. And then you get that transition to his sister saying, hey, why aren't you eating your carrots? Because he's a picky eater. Watching the kids in this show and just seeing how peaceful their life is, it makes you want to protect them the same way Rimuru does. And not many shows can do that for me. There have been an increase, I would say, in anime as of late that have been able to do well-done anime children characters that aren't annoying or cringy or just you want to push them off a boat. But here, it's doing it in such a way that's not invasive, but it also adds to the almost humanity of this monster village, because the way everyone's acting, there's so many different races of monsters and they're living in such harmony. And then when you think about the main series, it makes you say, what the hell is wrong with some of these nations, right? This show's great, and I'm actually surprised by how much substance has been here and just how much fun I've been having. It's not only a hilarious comedy anime, but the slice of life not only makes you appreciate the world that Rimuru has developed, but also where that kind of connections that we've been building over just simply 2 episodes, how 12 episodes is going to reshape what we saw in the first part of season 2 and where it could go in part 2. I'd love to know everyone's thoughts and feelings and definitely their favorite moment down below. I think my favorite moment is just anything with Gabata in this episode. I think at this point he's probably my favorite character in the show. He's just so ridiculous, and I think he fits even more at home in a slice of life slime anime than he even did in the main series, which he already was flawless there. Let me know your feelings though down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. Since the next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.